Hi there. How are you? Joseph Carrabba here with another experiment in writing. We're listening to Bruce Hornsby in Lorraine, back when it was Lorraine. He's had a tremendous career arc for the time that I've been paying attention to. Today's topic is distractions. Can you tell? I created this background because I wanted to talk about distractions today. The reason I want to talk about distractions today, I feel like I should be talking faster, is because I got a new computer, the Windows 11 computer. Yeah, I know. And there were more distractions once that thing got fired up. It just really staggered me. The reason I want to talk about distractions is because, let me shut this thing off because it is just irritating to me. It's going to be wonderful for you folks. Hang on a second. There we go. Much better, don't you think? My apologies. But it was kind of fun. The reason we're talking about distractions is people have asked me, how do I manage to produce as much as I do at the level that I do? Share a story, an anecdote. The rough draft of Inheritors came about because my agent at the time had read one of my short stories, Uncle Tommy, which is now the first chapter of The Inheritors, and wanted to know. Actually, what she said to me was, "I think there's more here. Can you write something? Can you expand this a bit?" And I went, "Okay, let me see if I can." 3 months later, I had the full novel, and she was very impressed by it. She gave it to the head of the agency, who was so impressed they contacted me. They called me, and I remember the head of the agency saying, it was one thing to have somebody produce that much in 3 months. It was a totally different thing to have somebody produce that much with that kind of quality in 3 months. How did I do it? That's actually a question that's been coming to me throughout most of my life. And I have to say it's due to the fact that I don't allow myself to be distracted. I don't put a lot of distractions around me. Sometimes I will seek out distractions. Most times I don't, especially if I'm working, whatever it is. I was able to solve math problems that others found intractable and came up with applications and theories and technology to blow people away, because once I figured out where I wanted something to go, nothing got in my way to get there. You would think I would be able to do that with becoming a world-class author. Well, perhaps my writing is world-class, working on it. Myself, definitely not. So many factors involved in there that I don't want to have to take part in those other factors. They're abhorrent to people, abhorrent. But distractions. I can't fathom how often other people allow themselves to be distracted. I'm looking here at some notes. For example, when I'm working, no phone, no video, no email, no texts. Now, here's the thing. Here's how all this plays into being what I consider a good author. There are so many distractions available to people. Your story, your novel, whatever it is you put in front of them, has to be able to shut down all the distractions. There's technical terms for it: intentional awareness and unintentional awareness, and intentional awareness. Whatever you want to call it, however scientific you want to be about it. The fact is, when I write something, I don't want people to be able to put it down. I'm greedy with their time, with their mind, if you will. A friend of mine long ago said, when you co-opt somebody's imagination, they're working for you. I love that. When you are so embedded in somebody's imagination that whatever they're thinking about is what you produce, you own them. They're working for you. They are generating your stuff. They're living inside of your world. So I don't allow myself to be distracted when I'm working. If I notice that I am being distracted, that's a signal to me that I'm not able to produce stuff. But it's very specific. If I'm not able to produce, what's causing the problem? Am I not intrigued by the story? Am I not enthused? Then that's going to be a real problem, because if I don't like the story, if I'm not following, if I'm not excited about it, my readers will never be. Do I not know where the story is going? Okay, we've talked about that a number of times. Back up to where you did know. Find out what was going on. How come? What happened? How did you lose the story? There are a lot of things you can do if you are willing to be distracted and you don't want to be distracted. You recognize, if I can be aware, if I can be intelligent enough to recognize why I'm being distracted. I'm being distracted because that'll allow you to go back to work. On the reader side, especially if they're reading on a tablet, because tablets always want to pop up stuff, which really, is it that important? I don't think so. Sometimes Susan for work has to get texts in the evening, and excuse me, I want to turn to her and say, shut that thing off. That is so goddamn irritating. It's distracting to me. And the funny thing is, it's also distracting to her, because she'll be busy over here doing something, and all of a sudden she has to come over here to make sure the phone's okay and getting a text. And I say to her, what are those texts about? Are they relevant? No, 9 times out of 10 they're not. So you're basically being blocked by 9 out of 10 texts for that one which may have importance. And is that one which has importance, is that really important? Nothing that can't wait? Well, okay, well, she wants to be distracted. Great. I don't want my readers distracted. Excuse me. I don't want them to be able to put the book down, which means I have to create a world so intense and so real. Nothing outside of this world that I created for them can interfere. Find out what is distracting to you. Recognize that. Guard against it, but also use it as a tool. For one thing, you can use it as a tool to indicate why a character is being distracted in your story. What's pulling them out of the storyline to do something else, which of course you want them to be aware of what you do. But also, is it a sound? Excuse me, then make sure in your work, in your writing, you create auditory cue in your work. So the reader will read an auditory cue like Bach, like Bruce Hornsby, like Aerosmith. Take your pick. Hauser, whatever his name is. And if they see that in the story, they'll be hearing it in their head. They won't be listening for it out here. Very significant. In search, I did a lot of work to include music from the time period where the story takes place. And I got so many comments from people contacting me that they got locked into the story because they remembered that music. Obviously, it's people of my age, but they really got into it because the music was there and they heard the music. And yeah, they remembered the mood that that music gave them. And they couldn't put the book down because there was nothing interfering. They didn't pick up auditory cues in their environment. That's how you do it. Visual cues. Something's going to pop up over here and blink. Put it in the story so that they see the distraction rather than getting it over here somewhere. Flavors, tastes. Are they hungry? Put food in the story. It'll make them hungrier. We're going to get up and get something to eat, but they'll come back if you're doing your work. So, distractions. Guard against them when you're working, unless you need them, in which case, how come I do need these? Make sure you put the distracted cues in your work so that the readers aren't distracted by what's outside of your story. Thank you. And now we're going to go look for the magic turn off for video button. Oh, this decided to pop up and I wasn't paying attention. It was so upset. Here it is. Bye-bye.